All right, let's talk about getting projects done right. Today, we're going to build the ultimate roadmap to take any project from just a spark of an idea all the way to a successful launch. Whether you're an official project manager or you just, end up managing projects, this is your guide. Let's get into it. Oh man, we have all been there, right? You start out with this really clear goal, and then somewhere along the way, things just go completely off the rails. Deadlines start slipping, the budget just explodes, and that original beautiful vision, it gets totally lost. It's super frustrating, but you know what? It doesn't have to be that way. The good news is there's a proven path you can follow. It's a four-step structure, and we're going to walk through it right now. Think of it as a roadmap that'll help you steer your projects away from that chaos and straight towards the finish line. Okay, first up, Act 1, laying the foundation. Now, before you write a single line of code or schedule one meeting, you have to answer the biggest, most important question of all. Why are we even doing this? And this is the absolute core idea. A project isn't just some random to-do list that you're checking off. No, it's how a company's big picture strategy actually gets done. So if your project doesn't directly help with a larger company goal, you really got to ask, why are we spending our time, our money, our energy on it? So how do you actually do that? Well, what's so cool about this is that it shows you a systematic way to connect those dots. A tool like this project screening matrix lets you score potential projects against what really matters. Things like strategic fit, how urgent it is, and the potential return on investment. It takes the guesswork out of it and makes sure you're working on the right stuff. And once a project gets the green light, it needs to be made official. You can think of the project charter as the project's birth certificate. It's that piece of paper that says, yep, this is a real thing, it's got support, it's got a purpose, and crucially, it gives the project manager the authority to actually start spending money and using resources. So, with that foundation totally solid, it's time for Act 2, creating the master plan. This is where we take that big why and turn it into a super detailed, actionable blueprint for how we're going to get it done. Now, the absolute cornerstone of any good plan is a crystal clear project scope. I'm talking about a precise, written definition of what the finish line looks like. Why is this so important? Because it is your number one defense against what we call scope creep. You know, that slow and steady drip of new requests that can absolutely sink a project. So, how do you tackle that scope? Well, you don't try to, eat the whole elephant at once. A work breakdown structure lets you take that huge, kind of scary end goal and chop it down level by level into smaller and smaller pieces. You keep going until you have these little work packages that are easy to get your head around, easy to assign, and easy to track. Okay, this is a really crucial point. You have to understand how these two things work together. The WBS, that work breakdown structure, it tells you what you need to do. It's your list of ingredients. The project network, though, that tells you the order you need to do everything in. It's the recipe. You need both. And this is basically what that recipe looks like. A network diagram maps out every single activity and shows how they all depend on each other. And when you do this, something amazing is revealed, the critical path. That's the longest chain of tasks that depend on each other, and it actually determines the shortest possible time your project can take. Any delay to any task on that path delays the entire project. It's that important. And that brings us to this idea of slack. Slack is basically your wiggle room. It's your flexibility. It's the amount of time a task that's not on the critical path can be delayed without messing up your final deadline. But those activities on the critical path, they have zero slack, none. Knowing where your slack is, that's like a project manager's superpower when things inevitably get complicated. All right, so we have our why, we have our master plan. Now for Act 3, executing and steering. This is where the rubber meets the road, where the plan meets reality. It's all about bringing that plan to life while navigating all the curveballs that get thrown your way. Listen, you can have the most perfect, beautiful plan in the world, but if people aren't communicating, it will fall apart, period. A solid communication plan that answers these key questions up front makes sure everybody, from your team on the ground to your most important stakeholders, has the right information at the right time. It is the absolute lifeblood of a healthy project. But how do you really know if you're on track? I mean, being busy doesn't mean you're making progress. We need an objective way to measure how we're doing against the plan. And that's exactly what this powerful technique called Earned Value Management, or EVM, is designed for. Just look at this diagram. It tells a whole story with just 3 lines. That black line, PV, that's your plan. That's where you should be. The red line, AC, is your actual cost, what you've actually spent. And this blue line, EV, is your earned value. That's the real value of the work you've completed. But gaps between these lines, they tell you everything you need to know instantly about whether you're behind schedule or over budget. And that leads us right to our final act, Act 4, crossing the finish line. And here's the secret. A project is not over just because the last task is checked off. There is a final, super important phase to make sure that its success actually lasts. A real project closure has 3 key steps. First, you wrap everything up and get that formal sign-off. Second, you take an honest look at how you performed against your original goals. And third, and this is the one most people skip, you hold a retrospective to really capture what you learned along the way. And that retrospective is just so vital. This isn't about pointing fingers or creating a blame game for what went wrong. Not at all. It's about systematically learning from your wins and your losses so that the next project is better and the one after that is even better. It's how the whole organization gets smarter over time. So I want to leave you with this really powerful thought from the legendary management consultant Edwards Deming. Experience by itself doesn't make you better. It's the reflection on that experience, the deliberate act of learning from what you did that turns just being busy into making real progress. And that, at the end of the day, is what this is all about.